I'll go on her TikTok. I don't give a fuck if she knows that I'm looking every single day. Like,
Bitch, what I was trying to say is this situation got me so wet and so dry at the same time. Exactly.
what's up, bitches? Welcome back to another episode of So Wet, So Dry. I'm Autumn. This is Fiji. If you guys don't know us, now you do. So, welcome back to another episode. We're going to start things off as we always do and talk about what's got us so wet and so dry this week. And I'll start, honestly, I'm not wet about anything, but I am wet about Fiji coming out to LA to see me, to record, and also just to have fun and fuck shit up. And we're starting to talk to some people that are interested in being guests on the podcast. We are setting, a schedule. We're going to get some guests locked in, and you guys will have, more fun content, new voices to hear from. It's going to be great. So I'm definitely so wet about that.
No, I'm so wet about that too. We already have like 2 people lined up that we're looking forward to having on. It's just going to be so lit to be in LA. I've never been to the West Coast. Honestly, it's
Crazy.
the countdown with our jobs right now. I'm so ready to just be there and just focus on the podcast. So definitely wet about that too. But this week, I'm so wet about some dumb shit. Honestly, I'm so wet about bacon, egg, and cheeses on croissants. Like, bitch, I've been ordering them every single fucking day this week with my chai latte. I don't know what my fucking problem is. I just bought groceries today, though, so it's going to stop. But they just remind me of home. Like, they just remind me of, like, my dad would make them. My Nana would make them. Like, it just, like, they're so fucking good. Like, give that to me every day in the morning for the rest of my life. Bacon, egg, and cheese on croissant, period. Honestly, it could be on an English muffin. It could be on a bagel. It could be on anything.
Yeah,
I love them.
with bagels, you know that.
Yeah. I think sometimes the bagel's too tough. Like, the croissant is just, like, softer.
That's facts. That's why it might, yeah. I know.
But,
croissants in general are just so fucking
right. So good. But one thing that it has to have mayonnaise and hot sauce. Like, miss me with that dry shit. Like, Starbucks, I love Starbucks, but I can't get their egg sandwiches because they don't have fucking mayonnaise packets. Like, aren't you guys supposed to be, like, French or something? Like, French people have, well, they have mustard. I don't know.
They have sriracha, though.
Yeah, but, like, I need mayonnaise.
I
like,
know. Yeah.
Whatever. But what about that? Also, what about Threads, guys? If you're not on the new Threads app, you better hop on there. I've always been a Twitter bitch, but I kind of like Twitter's just been lame lately. Like, I don't follow a lot of the same people I follow on Instagram on Twitter, and I thought I liked that because sometimes I'd be tweeting some like wreck shit.
Yeah.
But with Threads, it's all your Instagram followers, and it's honestly cute. Like, I fuck with it. There's no ads. Like, it's just different.
I know. I love the no ads. It's like it's like we're in this age of like new social platforms like launching all the time, and like it's really exciting to see like where is this app going to be in like 3 months? Like, is everyone going to be on it? Is it going to flop? Like, I fuck with it too. Like, I've never been a Twitter girly. But I honestly, there's no, like, specific reason why. Like, and I do fuck with, like, the words. I, like, definitely posted some, like, unhinged quotes. Like, go
That's
follow.
What I was telling, guys, I was telling Autumn, I was like, you need to get on Threads because, like, you say funny shit. Like, you say unhinged shit. You have good thoughts. You need to just thread them.
Just get them out.
She was not about Twitter, but I think Threads, we're going to have her on. So follow us both on Threads. I think you can find it through our Instagram. It's the same as our Instagram name. Yeah, you just
click it.
Yeah, and we're trying to get So Wet, So Dry on there, but right now you can only have one account on Threads. Like, you can't switch back and forth, so hopefully we can get that soon.
Straight away.
Instagram, we're asking for it, but yeah.
Yeah, and then this week what has me so dry, you guys have probably seen this already by the time this drops and everything, but the whole Keke Palmer debacle with her boyfriend / baby daddy, whatever the fuck, like,
sassy man
called her out on Twitter and was talking about, like, you're a mom, you can't wear that. And it was so just like our last episode was on the sassy man apocalypse, and this was such sassy behavior.
Yeah.
But like, Keke Palmer is Keke Palmer. Like, we all know and love her from when we were kids, like Akila and the Bee, like all that shit. She shaped us. And so I feel like we felt attacked by this. Like, it was really fucked up and, like, misogynistic and all that shit. And her response dance video on TikTok was everything. It was perfect. The comment section passed the vibe check. Like, we were all just like, the queen has spoken, and that's the end of that. That was her response.
No, honestly, like, she killed it, because it's like, being a famous person, like, I could expect her to, like, stand by her man and shit for, like, publicity, or, like, her, you know what I'm saying? But, like, she really was just like, no, I'm that bitch, and, like, even if you are my man, you can't be. He publicly embarrassed her. Like, fuck him. Like,
I know. And
who cares if she's a mom? She's bad as fuck. Like, let her wear what she wants.
And that type of, like, response and just, I don't give a fuck energy, alpha woman, like, he doesn't even pay for the house they live in. Like, she's the breadwinner, and, like, her response, I feel like, inspires other women to do the same. Like, when people act like that, like, you don't stand by them. Like, you separate yourself from that, because that, you know, you're not associating with that. Because it's like, if that happened to, like, one of us peasants, it's like, it would suck. But, like, to Keke Palmer, bro, like, she's famous as
that's
shit.
Even
like,
more like, fuck him. Like, literally fuck him.
And, like, she's in the public eye. Like, everyone saw that he embarrassed her. If someone embarrassed me online, like, 12 people would see it. Like, you know,
right.
it's different.
It's so different.
Yeah, I'm dry about what he did and his sassy behavior, but I'm so wet about her response.
Yeah, go Keke. Team Keke all the way. This week, I'm so dry about, honestly, just work. Lame as fuck. It's the end of the quarter. We're wrapping up quarterly fucking projects. We have quarterly meetings this week, so I gotta be in person, and I'm usually fucking remote. I'm just over the corporate shit. This isn't gonna be my life forever. It's fine.
I know, dude. It's not gonna be our life forever. It's not. That's so dry. Honestly.
Manifesting. But yeah. Today's topic is delusions. All the delulu girlies. Me and Autumn have been there. We know you guys have been there too, based off of our polls, and we're getting into it. It's trending right now, so let's talk about it.
So we're talking about delusional behavior, and of course we went to you guys and asked y'all. We asked the girls, do you think you're delusional too? We think we are. So, you know, what do you guys think? And 78% of our followers said yes, and 22% no, which I thought was interesting. I thought it would be a higher number that said yes, but, you know, it's not all black and white. Maybe they really just don't relate to this delulu thing going on, or they're in denial and they are delusional too and won't admit it, which is a big thing. And then we asked y'all, like, what are the most delusional behaviors that you do? And staying with them when you know they won't change, which was one of the biggest ones. That was 38%. And also at 38% was thinking you can be up early after a late night out, which, again, is, like, a big one. I feel like the staying with him when you know they won't change is, like, depressing, and, like, thinking you can be up early after a late night, like, that's kind of just setting yourself up, like, you want to, you know, so that one's a little less heavy. And then stalking their social media and making up stories in your head about, you know, who they're fucking with or what they're doing. That was 19%. And then the last one, only at 5%, was making excuses for why they aren't responding. So pretty interesting, but I definitely agree with, like, the top two. I feel like that tracks. That makes sense to me. This next one definitely surprised us.
Big.
Asked, you know, are men delusional too? Like, we just had an episode last week on the Sassy Man Apocalypse. Like, you know, they're sassy. Are they delusional too? And 92% said yes, which is so high and higher than the women when this is supposed to be, you know, a feminine thing. And that's what it's classified as. But men are delusional too, apparently, and I agree.
Honestly, it's a relief.
It's a relief.
I feel like we be so delusional, you know, everything tells us, you know, women are emotional, women are delusional, da-da-da-da. But it's not just us. And honestly, it makes sense, because I feel like I really do have a lot of delusional men in my DMs, just delusional men trying to hit on us, da-da-da. Like, they are delulu, but maybe we don't talk about it as much. They don't make as many trending TikToks like we do about it, you know? They probably don't sit in the little, like, powwows with their friends and whatnot and be like...
Yeah, they're just a little better at hiding it, I guess. But I feel like to those who have experienced it. It's like these people that clicked yes were probably like, yeah, like my man's delusional, or like this situationship I'm
And a
fucking
lot
in.
of men voted. Like, it was like women saying yes, men are delusional, but it was a good amount of men that voted and said, yes, I am delusional. So shout out to you guys, you delusional kings.
Yeah,
We're here
love
for
that.
it. We're delusional as well.
Self-identification is key.
Yeah, and so also, of course, we did some research, as we always do. We pulled from this article from ID Vice that was talking about this delulu girl TikTok trend, which is kind of where we got the topic idea from. It's trending super hard, like we said. And one thing that the article was saying is that one of the reasons they think that women are like posting so many like delulu things, delusional things, is just because we live in this social media age where like there's such a gap in communication, because, you know, we're constantly communicating online or not communicating and like stalking their profiles or whatever, instead of like directly talking to like a person. So if you have like a crush, a situationship, a romantic partner, specifically, there's just all of this like room for you to just sit by yourself with your thoughts and be on social media about it.
Yeah. Which can make us feel a little bit better that, like, it's not just us. Like, we kind of were dealt these new cards of, like, living with social media, dating in social media times. And it's like, even with the pandemic, like, we had so much time to just sit around and, like, all of this delusional thinking when it comes to, like, Instagram and, like, where you can see where they are and who they're with constantly. It's like, that's, you know, just something that we have. And sure, you could choose not to engage in social media, but if you want to have a platform, if you want to have a voice, like, you got to be on social media. So it's like you can't really get away from it. And, you know, trends are real. Like, this, I feel like it's kind of empowering in a sense, like women coming forward and be like, oh, this is so delusional. Because it's like, at least we know who we are, like, you know?
Yeah, it's a common behavior. Like, it's like all of us women talking about the things we all experience.
Right.
And that's another thing it talked about. Like, it's kind of this, like, feminist thing where it's like, you know, femininity, like we talked about in our last episode, so often is looked at as being weak and like da-da-da, but like all these women just like talking about like how they're romanticizing their crushes and like whatever, and all the like stupid silly things you do when you like somebody. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of like empowering to be like, okay, like it's normal, you know, like
yeah,
it's fun to be in that naive like teenage girl era where
yeah,
like before you have your heart broken and you're still like hoping and like pining after someone.
right.
But another thing that the article did say that I thought was interesting is they talked to a family counselor, and they said, we often know like so little about another person that there's so much space for us to project like our hopes and dreams onto them. And it's also not necessarily sexy to communicate about those things in a straightforward way, because what's kind of erotic is what's often mysterious and unsaid. It's all about the subtext. And bitch, I feel that. I love a subtext. Like, I love a mysterious, like, we catch a vibe and like leave the vibe, let it linger. Like, I don't always want to just straight up tell you, because sometimes it's more fun to just have that, just like, you don't know.
Right.
Maybe we
no,
know.
You eat that shit up. And it's interesting. The first thing you said too is like, when you don't know so much about a person, there's a lot of like space for you to project like your hopes and dreams of what you want them to be. And something that I struggle with a lot is like not really like knowing who people are, and like more just like putting on them what I want them to be. Like, that's been a pattern in like my relationships. And it's like, it's so true. And it's like, it is validating to know that like other women are going through this too. And like the whole thing with like subtext and context clues is like this sort of thing like exists in social media in a way that's different than like your classic sexual tension when you're at a party, when you like lock eyes and look away, like you're in the same room. But on social media, it's like you like their message but don't respond, you like their story but don't text them, like, and it's like all this little nuanced shit, but it's like we all go through it. And so it's like it is validating to talk about it, and we're gonna get into it more. But like, there's delusional thinking that's like very detrimental and like can be harmful and toxic. And then there's delusional thinking that's kind of fun and maybe gets you through the day, like a nice daydream. So there's like there's definitely parts of being delulu that I'm so wet about and also so dry about. Like, it's a double-edged sword. So basically, we made like a little list of the delusional behaviors that we do and have seen in our friends and stuff or whatever. And we kind of categorized them a bit into two different things. The first one is like romance and dating, which I feel like is like the biggest one. So basically the first one we'll talk about, and this was on the polls, but stalking their accounts and making up stories. And bitch, if me and Fiji haven't fucking done this shit before, we're like fucking master detectives at this point. Like, honestly,
Yep.
this is not a flex, but like, I feel like you're a little bit better at it than me. You're like scary good at it. But it's like, no, like I've been in open relationships and like monogamous ones too, but like I go through their followers and I try to like pinpoint like if they like their pictures a lot, okay, maybe they have something going on. Like, it's just like
Yeah.
all this stuff that you're creating in your head that is not serving anyone, especially not yourself. So why the fuck do we do that shit?
No, literally, and you had said this earlier in like planning and stuff that it's low key like self harm because you like think yourself into this dark place because you're
Low-key.
making up all these things. Like, especially if it's your significant other, that's a whole different thing. Like, if you guys are in like a good space and then you just decide to like think yourself into like a bad place because you're going through who liked their picture or their followers or like whatever the fuck, like it's just not healthy and it's not good, and that's kind of like more of a bad delulu, I would say.
Definitely.
But I've definitely done this like recently, more recently. I feel like it was like a couple months ago, but like with my ex, like stalked his account from my burner, like looked at his story, and he had posted like a story with like not with this girl but of this girl like in a pool, and like low-key now I think it was like a famous girl or a model or something. I don't think it was a person. I don't know, maybe that's just what
Who
I'm telling
knows?
myself. Who knows? But literally went through everyone who had liked his recent pictures, like all of the girls, trying to match like whose hair it was, trying to like figure it out, like just bullshit, just like at like 3 a.m. when I can't sleep, just wasting my time doing this. And it's just like, why? Like,
I
literally, why
know.
do I care? Like,
It always happens to me in the morning is when I do it. I like wake up and choose this like unhinged behavior that I know is going to make me upset. I know it's going to make me like miss them, not really miss them, but like miss them in a fucked up way. And I just
yeah.
feel like we collectively, like, I don't know if how much y'all do this or if it's just us. I mean, I know it's not just us, but it's
I
like,
know it's not just us.
it's a really bad one, and it does feel like self-harm because it's like I know that I'm gonna get upset. I know that even if I don't find anything, I'm gonna create it. So it's like, why do that? So it's something I really want to work on, just not doing that.
Yeah.
And
And
sometimes
even,
I'll catch myself, I'll go to do it and I'll be like, you know what, Autumn, we're not doing that. But like literally the other day I did it, and I was just like absolutely stalking my ex's Insta, and we use the word stalking way too much. Like, that word is not
yeah,
cool to just throw around.
not healthy.
But you are, like, it is. You're looking at to see where they were, who they were with, like, what time. Like, Instagram can tell you everything. It's, like, too much.
No, because it's like if we weren't in the age of social media, like stalking that, like if you were doing this, you would have to be like peeping in their window, like following
That's
them
what
around.
it's
Like that's
equivalent to.
crazy behavior. But we just have so much access to it, and it's just like I don't even know, like when I do it, it's like not even like I'm like mad, like I miss him or I'm like whatever. It's really like how we were talking about earlier too, like just like on some misogynistic shit where it's just like you want to find the other bitch and like shit on her to make yourself feel better.
I know.
So lame. Like we're
Right.
about our own lives.
Because
Like,
when I'm doing it and it's a bad bitch, I'm like, fuck. But if it's like a quote unquote someone I find to be less attractive, I'm like not even mad. I'm like, fine,
Right.
but boost of ego. But it's like, oh, really? That's the goal, to put down other women?
Yeah.
And like, no, that's not the goal. Like, it's just this toxic cycle. But I feel like, identification is the first step to change. And we know
Right.
that we do it.
yeah.
And I feel like just collectively as women, we gotta just end this.
We gotta stop.
We can't do this.
We gotta
anymore.
stop. Yeah, delulu, bad. That one's bad. Okay, so the next one is specifically if you're kind of like fucking with music artists, you have a crush on a music artist, like whatever, when you like listen to their songs on repeat, or also when you think their songs are about you. And like I definitely did this with my ex. Like he has songs that were about me when we were dating, but like when we first started dating, like I would be like, oh my god, like his song from like 2 years ago, I'm like, oh my god, it's about me. Like bitch, obviously fucking not.
You didn't
fucking
know him.
me. But it was like a just like romanticizing like thing. I'm like, oh well, it was like the spirit gods like knowing he would meet me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. Because he had one song that was about, like, a stripper, and I was just like, oh, like, that's me. Like,
yeah, like, this
like,
was, like,
me?
he knew he was going to meet me, and that's why he wrote this song. Like, that's why these lyrics came to him. And it's, like, it's a comparison to the last one we talked about, like, making up stories. It's, like, this is not that harmful. Like, it's really okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because same situation, like, my ex wrote songs about me, and now new music that he has come out, he's with a new girl now. Like, they're probably about her. But I'm just like, yeah, they're about me. Like, they 100% are about me.
Yeah.
And it's also, like, just, like, consuming their music OD. Like, we said in another episode, like, our delusional crushes, we were their number one listener on Spotify. And, like, we couldn't even post our Spotify thing because
embarrassing.
they, you know what I mean? So it's, like, shit like that. And it's, like, even other artists, like, dancers, like, girls I follow, like, I will consume their content OD. And just because, like, it lets you
so
in
bad.
to, like, who they are. Like, we're just artsy people, too. So it's, like, we overall, like, I just, like, bow down to people that put out their music. I'm like, that's so vulnerable. That's so cool. But it's more the delusional thing where it's, like, I just want to make it about me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you want to romanticize it. Like, I literally was saying the other day, I'm like, I need to stop fucking, because I love music artists. Like, if there's one thing, like, it's quiet men and, like, music artists. Like, I just love, like, because it's just like, oh, you're sensitive. Oh, you make music. Oh, you put it out there. Like you said, like, that's a vulnerable thing to do. And I literally have to stop because it's like, with the most recent guy I was talking to, like, he makes music. And I literally, like, I went, like, a week without listening to it. I was like, all right, bitch, we're not doing that. Because I know once I fucking listen, because I like him, that shit is going to be on repeat. And I need to listen to other shit. You feel me? But I broke down the other day. I listened to it. And here we
now
fucking
it's
are.
all over. But I feel like it makes sense for you. Like, I've only been with, like, one music artist. Like, seriously. Like, it's, like, a newer thing for me. But I think for you, like, you studied writing, poetry, like, all that shit. It's, like, very music, you know? It makes sense to me because it's not like you fuck with the beat hard. Like, I honestly feel like for me, like, I just fuck with the beat. But you are, like, in their lyrics. You are, like, every
because I want to
word.
know how their mind works. Like,
You
it's like,
analyze
if your mind
their lyrics
is interesting, like, and there's been guys I've, like, kind of liked, and then I've listened to their music, and I'm like, oh, they're, like, not that, like, deep or whatever. But if their music is any relatively, like, deep on any shit, bitch, I'm projecting. Eat that shit up. Yeah, like, oh, we're gonna fall in love? I don't know.
Yeah. And then the next one we can talk about is kind of like making up reasons for why they aren't responding to your texts or whatever, or just making up reasons for why they're not showing, like, OD interest right away or whatever. Like, oh, maybe they're going through something. And this happened to Fiji the other day. Like, why hasn't he texted me? And I'm just like, maybe it's fine. Like, maybe he went hiking and lost service. Like, maybe he broke down, like, in his car.
When your friends be feeding into your delusions, like,
that's
it's
when you
just
know
like,
it's bad.
bitch. But honestly, like, with him, we had a conversation about it. Like, I put out so much that I don't want to talk 24/7. So I really think it's fine. Like, I really think it's good and we're in a good place. But still, when you like someone, you be tripping. Like, why aren't they on my dick? But if he was on my dick, then I wouldn't want him. Let's be fucking for real. So
and that's, like, I know. And that's the whole thing. And it's just, like, also, it's, like, we try to promote on this podcast, like, texting 24/7 when you're in a relationship is not good. Like, obviously there's, like, the honeymoon phase, or, like, when you're first getting to know someone, it's normal to want to talk to them 24/7. Like, that's that initial lust and love feeling. Like, that's human behavior. But at the end of the day, like, things that last, that keep your attention, are these things that are not,
are
like,
more sustainable. And that's even the thing, like, even with that, like, me even tripping about that is the Lulu, because it's like, I know me and him had a good time together. Like, I know we're in, like, a good place and, like, whatever. It's just, like, me being caught up in, like, the romanticizing that I'm like, why isn't he on my dick? You know what I'm saying? Like, you start, like, overthinking, like, everything, and it's like, realistically, like, you know, no. But sometimes, I will say sometimes, like, if they're not, I think in this case it's like whatever, but in other cases, if they're just straight up not responding to you or giving you interest, like, they're just not interested.
Yeah,
like,
and this is the thing that guys are delusional too, because we all know they talk to themselves in the DMs. And what are they thinking? Like, oh, maybe she just didn't feel like answering. Like, that's why she put it on scene. So I'm going to shoot my shot again and again and again. That's delusional. Why do you think I'm still interested?
So delusional. They keep fucking doing it. Like, men are persistent as fuck in their delusions.
Yeah, we'll give them that.
Honestly, and like this weekend, I had met this dude when I was like out, and he was like, he bought me a drink, whatever. But I told him very specifically, I was like, look, I'm not interested like that. Like, you can be my friend, but like, whatever. But like, you know how I am when I'm out. Like, I flirt a little bit too much. Like, I just be like, woo,
living for the night.
Yeah, I don't know, but I wasn't really flirting with him OD, but I was like, oh yeah, like I need my like shower drain fixed, like my shower faucet is leaking and I need my TV hung and like da-da-da, and he's like, okay, like I will fix it, like da-da-da. He has called me every single night. He found my TikTok, he messaged me on TikTok, like everything, and it's just like, bro, I'm not answering you because I'm not interested, like I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you that.
Right.
I feel like you should just get the message.
Yeah. And also it's like, if you don't have my number, don't call me. Like,
right.
The calling on Instagram, they call us at like 4 a.m. Like, when they're like that one dude. Like, it's obnoxious.
And then they're like, why aren't you responding? Like, it's like, I don't know, bro. Maybe because I don't fucking want to. And that's the hard thing, because it's like, I do feel like sometimes, like, with people I even like I'll wait to respond right away. Yeah. You know? So it's like, it could be, you be stuck in the catch-22 where it's like, am I delusional and thinking that maybe they just don't want me, or like, it's so
There's
hard,
too
bro.
much thinking going on. Like,
too
and
much.
It's like, maybe like women need to respond back to the men in the DMs and be like, I'm not interested, stop. Because obviously the scene isn't good enough. Them.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I feel like the best thing to do in that situation is just go off your last like interactions with them and like the cards at hand. If you've texted them like multiple times and shown interest and they're not responding,
facts.
Look at the facts. Like,
no
put
story,
yourself,
no,
pretend like your friend is telling you this and you're trying to give her advice. Like,
yeah, that's always honestly the best way to think about it. Because like,
yeah,
you would be, if she's actually your friend, you'd be straight up like, we're straight up with each other. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? When I talk about my ex, you're like, bitch, stop, move on. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's see.
The next one is posting like stories, posts, TikToks, whatever, hoping that they'll see and it'll make them want you, or like they're jealous, or also if they view your story first, you're like, oh my God, like they definitely want me, like they're so like bad. Stalking me.
It's so like, bad.
This shit is so nuanced because one, Instagram, like the algorithm doesn't like tell us what the fucking story rankings mean whatsoever. Because it's like, I swear to you, like you'll be first and that'll make sense because it's like, you're my best friend. Like we interact a lot on social media. Like it would make sense for you to be first, but then I'll have a rando be first that I've never interacted with. And I'm like, okay, this makes no sense, you know? And then it's like, is he just up high in mind because I've been stalking him, or is he stalking me too? I don't know.
I feel like Instagram loves that we don't know. Like they love that. They love to just know more than us. Like all these companies, like these fucking, like Instagram is a fucking money making fucking, and that, look where that shit started from. And then you have this new app Threads coming in. Like what the fuck? Yep. Like it's just so crazy. And I feel like it's a combination of you looking at them, you talking to them or looking at their page and them doing it back to you. But I feel like the real way to know, like, who, like, if it's the guy or the girl that you're talking to, like, look at their stories. Like, if you, not, like, go through their phone, but, like, you know, if you're, like, showing Instagram, it's like it could just pop up. That's how you know. I'm not promoting this, but if you want to do it right, because that's how you do it.
Snatch their phone and look at their shit.
Bruh.
But no, I definitely post shit hoping, like, certain people, like, it's like I posted that specific story so you would see it. And I'm checking constantly to see if you saw it. But I do know for a fact men do this shit, too, because I have this one dude that I be fucking with, like, I don't know. But anyway, he had posted some, like, pictures, and I kind of don't really worry about him too much for the most part because I know, like, I got it in the bag, and he's not really, like, my top whatever. But he had posted some shit, and I saw a bitch comment, and so, of course, I'm going to get a little bit, like, oh, like, excuse me.
What's going
like,
on?
You're supposed to be mine. And so I was like, oh, like, who said you could post, like, hot pictures, like, whatever. And, like, I forget, like, we went back and forth, and then, like, I saw him in person, and he was like, oh, you know, like, I only post those pictures, like, for you to see. Like, that's really the only reason I posted them. And so it was like, he could be cap, but he's the type of dude, I know he's not cap. Like, I know he's for real. I know
Based
how
on
he
this
feels about
specific
me.
dude, I feel like guys would cap about that
They
sort of
would
thing.
cap about that, but him specifically, I know he's not capping about that. So I know, like, guys do be delusional too. Like, they be, you know,
right,
posting shit for us to see, like, da-da-da. So it's like, it's not
so
just
why
us.
is it such a feminine thing? Like, why is it so classified like that? Maybe it's like what you said. It's like people, like women are just posting about it more on TikTok and all this shit. I feel like women
we're
have
conditioned more.
Yeah. We
I
have
think
so
in society,
much
like
because we're so emotional, right? So it's like that's why
Right.
we're delusional. But it's like you guys are just plain stupid. You're not even being led by emotions. You're being led by your dick and like dumb logic.
Right.
It's like
Exactly.
crazy.
Because I feel like guys, maybe I'm fucking wrong, I don't know, but I feel like women, it's always like on some like romance shit, like I like them, like oh my god, like da da da, like. But for men, it's more just like I want to fuck her.
It's
like,
borderline harassment with men. It's like
Yeah.
us thinking like, oh, these song lyrics are about me. That's not hurting anyone. You talking
Right.
to yourself in the DMs is like low key harassment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's different from like if you have a situationship with someone and they're like not texting you back as much and like all that stuff. Because I was even in a relationship and like the end of the relationship came and we weren't talking as much. She wasn't FaceTiming me as much and I got this intuition like she was gonna leave. But I wanted to hold on, so I made excuses like, oh, she's just going through shit at work. Like, it's not me. It's not me. So it's like sometimes maybe it wasn't, but in that situation it was. But it's just like,
Yeah.
there's different levels to this delusional shit is what I'm trying to say. And like, I feel like with men, it's like borderline harassment. And like,
100%.
sorry, but it's true, bro. Y'all are fucking sassy or delusional.
Like, because that's the thing. I feel like a lot of girls be doing the delusional shit, but keeping it to themselves, or just doing like the tweets and the TikToks and the cute shit. Right, but men be putting it on people more.
So this next one is like the biggest one, which is definitely a detrimental one, not a fun delulu one. This is a fucking hurtful one, which is when you stay with them knowing deep down in your little soul that they're not going to change, but you keep convincing yourself and a lot of times everyone else too in your life that like they are going to change. And like, unfortunately, I feel like a lot have people in general can relate to this, but definitely a lot of our women listeners, friends, us, like this is a big one and it really sucks. And like, honestly, it's like overall, like love is a very powerful thing and it can make you stay in some really shitty circumstances. But I feel like at the end of the day, like if you're dealt with these cards, this person is a rapper. They go to strip clubs all the time. They very much want that rapping money ass lifestyle. Like that's who they are. Like you're not going to change them. They could change, but that's going to be on their own at a silent retreat or a fucking rehab center or something. Like you can't change them. And like another thing I'll say too is like our society loves like the bad boy shit and like wanting to change that. And it's an exhausting thing to hold on to. It's so unrealistic.
Right, because it's like that struggle love trope where it's like, oh, like if you stay with them for long enough, like they're gonna get better and they're gonna be good and like whatever. And I definitely have experience with that. Like I've talked about it before, like my toxic and abusive fucking ex. But me and him lived in Boston during the pandemic, and the pandemic did not go well for me, guys. Like, what so fucking ever. Like, my ex had a psychotic break. He was in and out of rehab. And I just thought it was, well, both of us thought it was a grand fucking idea to just move to Atlanta. Like, broke as fuck. Like, he was working at Insomnia fucking Cookies. I didn't have a job. I was on unemployment, and we just packed up our 2 little suitcases, signed a lease for an apartment in Atlanta, having never been there, and took a 32-hour train down to fucking Atlanta and like started a life together when our relationship was shit. He was in and out of the hospital with anxiety attacks and paranoia and all this crazy shit. He couldn't pay rent, like nothing, like nothing made sense. And throughout the relationship still, like, he was in and out of jail. Like, we got a dog together. Just, like, stupid shit where it's, like, back and forth. You should have left, but you stay because it's, like, struggle love. Oh, if I love him hard enough, he's going to stay with me.
Yeah.
Bitch, leave.
It's this very over-romanticized type of thinking. And again, it's easier said than done, especially when you think about abusive and like toxic relationships. I mean, that can be really, really hard to leave, but it's like overall the point is like if someone's going to show you who they are when you first meet them.
Right.
And it's like both of our relationships, these dudes were the exact same as they are right now. Like nothing has changed. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like even we worry about who they're going to be with after us. Like it's the same shit. Like it's not going to change.
Because you can't change people. They have to change themselves. And, like, no matter what you do, you could break your back. You could bend over backwards. You could create the perfect life for them. It doesn't fucking matter. They got to grow and learn on their fucking own. Like, that struggle love shit is ass. That struggle love shit is ass. It's not real.
And it's, like, really chasing this, like, super like anticipated like high intense type of love. Like you want someone that's bad but is going to change for you want someone that's poly but they're going to be monogamous for you. Like why can't it just be a person? Like why does it have to be? And I really blame a lot of that on society, media, all this shit they preach to us in movies growing up about
100%.
the bad boy archetype and all that. Like a lot of this is not our fault, but, like, what is our responsibility is, like, how to change that narrative for ourselves. Because, like, we don't need to do this anymore. Like, we can choose not to.
And learn your lesson. And I feel like both for me and Autumn, like, going through the relationships that we went through with these, like, toxic people and, like, coming out of them, it's like, you know, you bend over backwards so many times, and then it gets to a point where you finally break up, and you're like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah,
like,
I'm exhausted.
Like, I have expectations and, like, standards for my next relationship where it's like, bro, like, I know what struggle love looks like, and it's it's romanticized so much, but, like, no, we're not fucking doing that anymore.
Right. And it's like when I first started dating my ex-girlfriend, she was, like, my first girlfriend ever. She told me, like, hey, I'm poly. Like, I'm not just trying out poly. I'm not just trying this out. Like, this is who I am. I can't be with someone that's not going to be in a poly relationship. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's fine. But I deep down was always hoping down the line that would change. And, like, she would just be monogamous with me, even though she was straight up giving me healthy communication, like, telling me that's not going to happen. Whereas, like, in other relationships, we were promised false hope that things would happen, and they never did. And she was directly telling me it wasn't going to happen. I still had that delusional thinking, no, she's going to love me way too much. She's never going to want to be with anyone else. Like, it's going to work out great. And it's like that type of delusional thinking is just, it's really toxic. Like, it's not cute. It's not good.
And it's like you have to believe what people tell you. Like, sometimes you want to read into things and think it's something else, but it's like if she's telling you that, like, that's real. And it's also like, again, back to like what media sells us, like like it's like you want to believe so hard that you can like change this person, and like there's only this one concept of love, which is monogamy, and you're the perfect person for this person. But it's like there's different types of love. Like I feel like we've both been in love a couple of times, and it was beautiful and it was trash at times, but at the end of the day it fucking taught us something, and it brings it into like the rest of our lives and our next relationship so that you can grow from it.
Yeah, and we definitely want to do an episode on like monogamy and like polyamory, open relationships in the future, because we both like have experience but also just think about it a lot. Like monogamy is not the only way to go, and like growing up I think a lot of us just didn't really know there was even another option. Like when you think of poly, you think of like threesome, like swingers, and like that's not what a lot of polyamory is. Like I feel like, you know, so it's interesting, but this is honestly the worst one. Just talking about it, it's like it's a downer. It just sucks that we do this.
No, honestly, and like I have another one too with my other ex, which I feel like we met when I was studying abroad, and not like we were both studying abroad. Like he lived in London, like we lived in separate countries across the sea, where we were a 6.5, 7 hour time difference, and we had known each other for a month and a half, and we were like, okay, like we're gonna do this, we're gonna stay together, like, and it's like when you're in love like that, you have that passionate shit, it's both of us being fucking delusional, thinking this shit's gonna work out, and it didn't work out.
But also just being in love and being human at the same time, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with trying to make that want to work out, but it's like you can tell the difference when it's like it's delusional thinking and deep down you're like, yeah, this is not going to work out, but I'm just going to keep entertaining it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard. But then sometimes it's like, okay, well, maybe you guys could have actually worked out. But when he came to visit, all of us knew that he was not
all
the
hell
one
broke
anyway.
loose.
So it's like, minus the 6-hour time difference, it was just.
It was not it. It's not it. Bro, being in a long distance relationship at 20 years old, thinking you guys are going to stay together, it's just not. It's delulu.
Yeah, it's delulu. Exactly. Another one, too, is like how, thinking that they know how you're feeling when you're not saying anything. Like you're kind of being petty and like sulking. And I feel like we've both definitely done this.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, when you're in, like, relationships and you're just, like, around each other, like, so much, and you get mad about, like, stupid, petty shit, like, it's just, like...
Sometimes it's, like, it's something stupid. Like, it's, like, you wanted, like, Pepsi, but they got you Coke or whatever.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, this is so fucking annoying. That's, like
that
they
should have known.
Shit. Yeah, you're like, this person, like, what the fuck? Sometimes it can also just be, like... something real and you're kind of like, I've done this shit before and now you like, can you just get it? Maybe I just give you the silent
Well,
treatment.
yeah, sometimes it's something you've communicated before and then it's like, okay, they should know why you're mad. Like, you've already like said it. Like, you've said like, don't text your ex and they're texting their ex. Like, that's fucking different. But I also think it's also not just in like long-term like serious romantic relationships, but also just with like your crushes and your situationships or like people you're casually fucking with. Like, I'm very guilty of this, just like expecting people to know how I'm feeling without saying it because I suck at communicating and I'm like awkward with that shit.
But you also want to keep it like...
But, like, I like the sexual tension. I like the subtext, the mystery, like we talked about earlier. So, like, there's a balance with that. But also I've gotten in situations before where it's like, bitch, like, you should have just fucking said something. Like, how do they not? They don't know how I feel if I'm not, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's better to just, like, say how you feel.
Right. And I was just thinking, too, dude, like, men do this shit, too. Like, the sassy men behavior of just, like, the petty blocking or just, like, not directly saying how you feel when you're upset about something. Like, men do this shit too. Honestly, men are just as delusional as girls.
Oh, 100%.
And if they think they're not, they're capping. I mean, obviously they think they are. They voted in their polls, but polls, but like, it's men totally do this shit too.
Okay, guys. So the next one is delusionships. These are pretty much relationships that don't exist, but you're delusional about them and you think they do. And if you listen to our last episode, I ended my delusional ship, kind of.
Cat.
I still have hope, okay? But, like, I'm just leaving it to the universe. It's fine. I at least let him know. I mean, I think
I at least let him know. For real.
I still think there's something there, but whatever. Anyway, delusionships are real. There's a lot on TikTok about them. It's just when you have this crush on someone and you think it's something, you be reading into everything, and it might not exist.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's probably nothing. I definitely have one, too. There's, like, this one girl I follow. She's, like, a dancer. And I just completely embarrass myself around her all the fucking time. Like, I'm always just like, you're so talented. Or I'm just like, I had a dream about you. And, like, she does reply. Like, she'll be like, what was your dream about? Like, you're wild. And I'm just like, she is dubbing me hard. But at the same time, like, she gives me enough where I still have hope. Going. So, like, that's why it's continuing. But she was one of the ones, like, I'll go through her YouTube channel and watch all her dance videos. Like, I'll go on her TikTok. I don't give a fuck if she knows that I'm looking every single day. Like, and I have seen her in person once, and I literally just hid. I was like, nope, this is way too real for me.
So you're like the men.
I don't even know if she, like, knew that, like, we, like, made eye contact, but it was, like, the best moment of my life. I was like, oh, my God. Yeah. That one's living on. It's going to keep going. I'm probably going to DM her.
That's the thing. They usually go for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I have another one with a girl who I think is straight. Low-key, we had a little something because I met her at this bar and I was, like, flirting with her, like, OD. And then, like, she was, like, acting like she, like, wasn't down for girls, but then, like, messaged me later and was like, I would hate for you to be right about me. So I'm like, okay, like, I'm not delusional. Like, we have something. But she's in college and she's like gone for the summer, which like college is like cringe, but it's,
Yeah.
I guess it's different with women. I feel like it's different. But definitely have a delusionship with her because it's just like, bro, she's so pretty and honestly, she's giving dom femme, and I'm just like, we would be
No,
so cute.
for real. Mine is literally a dom femme, and dom femmes never want me because they know that I'm submissive as fuck and just want to be told I'm a good girl, and like they like that shit. I don't know. Maybe I've just been fucking with the wrong dom femmes, but like I just haven't. They don't fuck with me. Like it's not, and it's just so annoying. Like I feel like she wants me to dom her, but I just can't. I'm gonna try, but it's just like I don't want her to think I'm creepy. Like with all the DMs, like am I literally like I don't think I've ever talked to myself in the DMs the way guys do, but like maybe I've replied to her story like a couple times in a row and she hasn't responded, but she at least likes it.
See, you're like the guys in the, and that's the thing, because sometimes I'd be giving them enough. Like, I'll be like, thank you, or like comment on something, and it's like, is that too much? Like, should you just not respond? Should you just be like, get the fuck out of my DMs? I don't know. Maybe you're just feeding their delusionship.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
honestly, she shouldn't have answered me because I reached out to her. I was like, I had a dream about you. And like she answered. She could have just left me on scene and I probably wouldn't try again. But now that she answered, I'm absolutely going to try again.
See, that's the thing. Like, with the guy, the other one, the delusionship that I ended, like, there was a back and forth.
You're
Like,
right.
he would hit me up sometimes. Like, when I was in a relationship,
There
he was,
was,
like,
babe.
commenting on my pictures and shit.
There was.
But yeah. So it's like, if they give you an inch, you're going to take a fucking mile because you're like, that's bae.
Because it's like, I'm not trying to fall in love, like, with anyone. But, like, I do want to, like, hook up with her. Like, come on.
Right, and that's usually what it is. It's not like you're, like, in love with them. Like, you want to fucking
We don't
marry
even know them. We
You don't even know them. You just want, like,
bits
something.
and pieces. Like,
Yeah,
I have
give me
met her
something.
before, though, like, for real, not, like, hiding. Like, I met her in person. This wasn't just, like, an Instagram thing. So that, you know, we did meet at one point.
Okay.
We were both in relationships. She was a lot different back then. But anyways, the next one we'll talk about is kind of like this whole, like, zodiac, like, what's your co-star? What's your birth time? Like, and then you look at their co-star and you're like, oh my God, like, we're both, like, we have happy faces on section.
No, the worst is when it's all negative faces. Bro, the guy that I like right now won't give me his fucking co-star. Like, I'm just
why won't he?
But low-key, he's a Taurus, and, like, you're a Taurus. So, like, I feel like it's, like, if he listens to this, I literally am going to kill myself.
Maybe
But
that's why I'm rooting for him, bro. It's that Taurus energy. I mean, Taurus men are different, but, like, if he's anything like me, he's obviously perfect, bro. So
Right.
you should just go for it.
I mean, I am and I'm not. But anyway, with the co-star shit, it's like, I really do feel like the zodiac sign be meaning shit. It's just people don't completely understand. Like, people just think it's
Right.
like, oh, they're like, oh, you're reading too much into it. Da, da, da. It's like, no, it's just helping me. I'm not going to just be like, oh, because we had frowning faces on co-star, I can't fuck with you. Like, no,
Yeah,
I'll
it's
take
just-
that into consideration.
Yeah, like, it's just like, if we have all frowny faces, like, okay, like, it didn't serve the purpose. Like, the purpose
Right.
is I go on co-star, we have all happy faces, and then
I can be
feed
more
into
delusional.
it. And I'm like, oh my God, the stars were destined to be. And it's like, deep down, it's like, okay, no, I know that. But it's like, honestly, if your astrology charts, like, align a little bit, you have better
and that's
chances.
what I'm saying with this guy. I don't know why he won't fucking give it to me, because I'm like, bro, me and you
Maybe
align
because
on
he
our sun
knows,
sign.
like, something is like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, he needs to give it to you, though. But yeah, I feel like people just don't know enough about astrology, and there's, like, this big stereotype. Like, guys are always like, oh, these bitches with their signs and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, dude, it's just like a tool in life. Like, how you guys do whatever you do.
How
Like,
you be on your Christianity podcast in the morning.
yeah, like, we're just out here trying to figure it out, too. Like, come on. Like, let's not. Honestly, astrology is I'd way rather be delusional about astrology than be delusional about someone who doesn't want me and harassing
Right.
them in the DM. So honestly, like, you guys suck.
we're winning. We're winning.
Fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. And then the last one we'll do as pertains to, like, romances shit is, like, those tarot card readings on TikTok. Like, we all scroll through them. And sometimes I'd be thinking like, nah, because this shit's way too specific. Like this person is literally channeling me right now. But then you get like 3 in a row and you're like, okay, come on.
And then you're like, it's the algorithm.
It's the algorithm. They know.
Because it'll be something like, you're like, oh, like, why aren't they texting me? And then it'll be like, oh, they're thinking about you, but they're afraid not to text you. And then you get 4 fucking tarot card readings in a row. Like, no, bitch. Like,
yeah, and the comment section on those videos always passes the vibe check. Like, people are always like, stop feeding my delusions. Like, sometimes it's like an actual psychic and like they were well intentioned, but at the end of the day, we just have way too much toxic shit going on. You cannot go on the internet and be like, you should text them back. Like, or you should text them you miss them.
And also, like, low key, you're not supposed to have a tarot card reading, like, that consistently. You're supposed to, like, spread it out over, like, 3 months. Like, you should have one, like, legit one over 3 months.
That's why, like, when one resonates and then I see another one, I don't watch
swiping.
It. I don't watch
me
it.
Neither.
I'm like, that's not
because
for
I'm like,
me.
that's all I needed. That's all I needed. Like, I really try to stay off tarot card TikTok because it's just like, if I just keep going into them, it's like too much.
Because
like,
I think even if you watch one and it's like a bad reading and it's like it doesn't resonate with you, like you're still like getting that into your psyche, like I'd rather just swipe by it.
Keep going, yeah.
Because I do believe in like the universe showing you signs, and it's like with social media, it's like, can the universe show you a sign through TikTok? Maybe. I think they can. I think that not everything is a sign on TikTok, but there's definitely been some videos I've seen and like I was like, shit, like I got tingles. Like,
okay, and I just thought of this too on the delulu shit. Like, you got to be careful with that sign shit because I feel like I'm definitely a very spiritual person. Like, we both are. But also, like, I'm going to say, like, my ex's name is a very common thing. I won't say what it is, but it's a very common thing.
A common word that we say, something that's common.
Like, very
extremely
often, like extremely. And I used to take that as a sign. Like, we would be fighting and I'm like, no, this would pop up. And I'm like, no, this whatever. Like, you feel me? And it's like, no, bitch. Like, no. So you got to be careful with that sign shit because.
Yeah, bro. Because remember when you found the toy car?
I was taking anything, bro. A fucking piece of grass.
I would just let you have it. Because I was like, honestly, it's making her happy. Maybe it's true. That's my thing. I'm like, maybe it's true. Like, that's why I feed into delusions sometimes with my friends for sure. Because I just want them to be happy. But that's not a good friend. I should have told you to take that car, chuck it out the window. It has nothing to do with it.
I ended up giving it to my friend's son. I ended up giving the toy car to my friend's son. But it's gone. But it's also just like, no, like, again, you can't change people unless they want to change. You could have told me 1,000 times over, and I'll be like, fuck you, bitch. That's my man. Like,
I know. That's my man.
That's my man. Okay, so we're going to switch gears into more, like, productivity, like, success, like,
looks.
More personal looks, like, more personal shit. And so the first one is when you're getting ready to go out, but it's going to be dark at the club that you're going to, and you're completely tweaking the fuck out over the fact that your eyelash is crooked or your eyeliner's fucked up. It's like, bitch, it literally does not matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Getting ready to go out in general is like such a process. And if you think about it logically, you're going out to fucking get so drunk and high, bro, out of your mind. You're going to end up looking crazy, or
at the
not
end of the
even
night.
that, but it's like you're going to be having so much fun. You're not going to care. Like, that always happens. Like,
yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, you spend hours getting ready, doing hair, makeup, outfit curation. Like, it's exhausting. And it's like literally pitch black. You can't even see people's eyes when you're inside. Right. You're like strobe lights.
And you're so drunk anyway that you can't focus on people's fucking faces. But bitches have had whole, bro, like, we're so much better than we used to be. But when we were in college, we literally, it was me, you, and our friend Gigi in Boston. And one of us, every single time that we went out, would have a full-blown like meltdown, and the other 2 girls would have to be like, it was
always
okay,
at least one person crying before we go out. And mind you, we're not even going out anywhere like revolutionary. We're going to like our friend's house for like a party.
No, literally we would be going to our friend's ex's house, and it would be like 8 of us getting drunk in their kitchen
with no one we're even really fucking with. Like, maybe like it was just intense. And like we would cry about like our bodies, or like we didn't like how we looked, like we didn't like whatever. And she would be crying about her man because they would go through it. I'm sure there was times like we were crying. Like it was just always something. But yeah, we've definitely gotten better. I mean, I had a breakdown literally the other day, but
I mean, I still do sometimes. Like,
but it's less. It's far few in between. Whereas, like, it used to kind of be like a routine. Like,
yeah,
we're gonna break
all the
down,
time.
feel better, and go. Like that's
Yeah.
what happens. But yeah, so that. But it's like it's harmless. Like it's delusional, but it's harmless. Like it's like who cares if we spend all this time getting ready? And honestly, it's like men shit on us for that. So I don't want to shit on us for that. But it's like it is.
It's
delusional.
also fuck society for putting so much pressure on us to look so good. Like.
Period.
I wish I could just like fucking put a brush through my hair and put on an outfit and pop out.
The next one we can talk about is basically this thing that some women do that is like we act like it's such a big deal if our pussy isn't shaved and we're about to have sex or something, when we know damn well that guys would fuck anything with a hole in it. Like they don't, not even like they don't care, but it's like they're literally so disgusting. Like I feel like,
I mean, they'll fuck you on your period. Like they really do not care.
Right.
Like also, ladies, be careful, because if you fuck a man on your period, then you get soul ties. But you know what I'm saying? Like they, especially if you're out and you're drunk and you're just on that vibe, like they will. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You could tell them you have a yeast infection and they'd probably still want to fuck you.
Ew. Not
No,
all
literally.
of them, but a lot of them. But I used to be on my shit. I would grow out my hair. Like I was loving it. But now it's like, and I feel like it's just preference. Now it's like, okay, well, I kind of want it to be shaved. Does it have to do with me being a stripper and doing OnlyFans? Probably.
Yeah.
Not to say that everyone that strips and does OnlyFans doesn't have that. They definitely do.
Because
But
you used to strip
it's
with
more
it.
of a, I know that you say that. I can't believe it.
Remember
But
that
I
time.
used to. I was go
And
me,
armpit
honestly.
hair.
But yeah, I mean, it's like feminist to have your hair and shit. It's like, who told us that we even needed to shave it? It's like the hair protects your pussy, all that shit. But a bald pussy is fun. So if you want to do that.
I love a bald pussy, and that's the thing. Like, I've literally given men disclaimers before we fucked. Like, oh, I haven't gotten waxed in a minute. Like, bitch, why am I doing that? It's not sexy. Like, shut the fuck up. Just fuck them. You feel me? Like,
Seriously, bro.
they don't care. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, it really doesn't. Okay, next one is, this is the one of the common ones from our polls, but thinking you can go out and wake up at like 8 a.m., bitch. Wishful fucking thinking. Autumn's mom would always say this shit, like magical thinking, and like Autumn put it in my head, like her mom put it in my head. But when you're just like, you're magical thinking, like you're not thinking like in reality, like realistically, like you're just like, oh, like everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, like you're not gonna wake up for your 8 a.m. meeting. It's not
Yeah.
happening. I'm sorry. You can't be out until like 7 a.m. and think you're gonna wake up.
Yeah, my mom's something else, bro. She really would call me out and be like, okay, enough with this magical thinking. Because it's like, part of it's like, yeah, you want to believe the best in yourself. Like, maybe you can wake up. Maybe you can do it. But it's like, the reality is, it's like, delusional hurts us because we're not being real with ourselves. And that means,
you're not a superhero. Like,
Right.
you could maybe do it on occasion, but you can only do that shit for so long before it's like not fucking real. Like, it's just like, no.
Like,
and
that's-
me and you like used to give ourselves so many more passes for this, like on the bad side of delusion, where it's like, oh, nothing matters. Like, we're just gonna go out and like pretend we're gonna wake up, but we're just gonna sleep until 3 p.m. the next day and miss all of our classes and like da-da-da-da.
Because we
And,
knew
like,
that was
now-
going to happen
yeah.
deep down, but we still just, like, chose to kind of ignore that. Whereas, like, now I feel like, honestly, there's been times where, like, we did go out and had to be on our shit in the morning. Like, but then it's like most times it doesn't happen. Like, that's just impossible. It's not grounded in reality. So we got to cut that shit out. But it's not really harming anyone. It's just kind of pushing yourself back, like, productivity-wise, which is an L for sure. Definitely so dry. But let's see. What else do we have on this list? Yeah, setting insane diet and workout regimens. Obviously, if you have like an eating disorder or like any type of, you know, problem when it comes to working out, it's like that's different. But if you have like a healthy relationship with your body and food and you're like trying to set these things, it's like even me like saying I'm going to work out every day in July. Like I'll tell you guys right now, I didn't. Like 6
Yeah.
out of 8 days I did, but 2 days, one
But
day I
that's
went to the
still
beach,
good.
like one day I didn't feel like it. But it's like, yeah, it's like maybe I shouldn't have set that goal because now it's like, oh, I failed, but I didn't. Like working out 6 days out of 8 is extremely impressive. Like most people don't
Right.
do that, so it's
And
like,
that's the whole thing is like sometimes when you set these ridiculous goals, you're just setting yourself up for failure or to feel bad about yourself because it's like, it's not realistic, you know? Like it would be fucking amazing if you work out 2 days of the week if you hadn't been working out at all.
right.
You know? So it's just like you gotta be.
Because we really be doing that as women to ourselves, and part of it is society to blame, like all the standards put on us, and we feel like we have to like create these meal plans and like lose weight and whatever. But in reality, we really don't. Your body is just
No.
your body. It doesn't even fucking mean anything. But there's nothing wrong with like wanting to look a certain way and wanting to improve it. But it's like set realistic standards for yourself so you don't end up, feeling hurt afterwards. This next one we can talk about a little bit is when you have so much work to do, but you act like, it'll just get done and you don't do it. And this has literally been us this week in our like corporate fucking jobs. Like it's sometimes like you just have so much, you get so overwhelmed, but it's this delusional thinking of like, it'll be fine when like it won't. Like no one else is going to do that but you. Like that's your job. Like it's kind of scary. And I've been kind of creeping over the edge this week. I've been taking naps during doing school hours, during work hours.
Yeah.
I've been just like not on my shit, and
well, the thing is too, like I feel like for us especially, like we're the type of like crunch bitches where we know we're gonna get it done. Like at the end of the day, like sometimes it's like, oh, we just work under pressure. You feel me? Like I'm really, and I feel like maybe it's my freelance that made me like this, where it's just like as long as it gets done, it doesn't matter what time I do it. But it's just like, why set yourself up for that position,
right?
Where you just have to stress and like,
I feel like for me, it's like any task I get assigned on like a Friday, like it doesn't get done till like Sunday night. Like I straight up like Gen Z like doesn't work Monday or Friday. I just don't.
No, I have to work Mondays because I have Monday meetings, but Fridays, like my therapy appointment is at 1. It used to be at 2. So once that happens, it's like I'm done, bitch. I'm done.
It's the weekend.
Yeah, it's the weekend. Like, are you kidding me? Like, no, I'm much more of a project-based bitch. I will get the projects done, and as long as those are done, don't fucking talk to me. Like, I'll go to my meetings, and that's it.
That's it. And the next one, like, relates into this next one. Like, the thing is like, it's like being a creator, an influencer, whatever you're trying to do, like, thinking you're going to be able to, like, replace your current jobs with that passion project immediately. Like, it's just not going to work. Like, we're putting so much effort into this podcast. Hopefully you guys can see that. But sometimes I take it seriously than the job that actually pays my rent. Yeah. So it's just like that's delusional. And like we still have a long ways to go if this is going to be like our only income. Like, yeah. But we act like it could happen tomorrow because technically it could. Like shit pops off and then it's just all over from there.
Well, and that's the thing. Like to be a creator, I think you have to be like somewhat delusional. Like to be like anyone that wants to be successful and go outside the realm of like working a like minimum wage job or a 9 to 5 or whatever, you have to be kind of delusional because our society doesn't really like set it up like that. Like you always got to have something else to support it. So It's like in a way it's good. Like in a way, like some of these like productivity ones, and even with the romance, it's like manifesting,
right?
You know, like we're really like we'd be like, you know, like it doesn't matter, like we're just manifesting and we love it. Like this is what we want to do. We don't want to do the corporate shit. So it's like, you know, we are a little bit delusional, like, but fuck it.
Yeah, and I've seen some TikToks too. It's like this like manifesting type of like delusional thinking that we've talked about, but it's like specific TikToks that are like act like you already are the millionaire, act like you already have the dream job. Like what would that person do this morning? Like pretend you have it and then you'll have it. So it's like these lines of delusional thinking, like it can be a positive thing. And then
the law of attraction.
Yeah, like that's a real thing. So it's okay to be delusional. Like it's not this big negative thing. But like as, you know, the list with a lot of the romance ones, like toxic things, like it's become, you have to be careful in which areas of your life you're being delusional and how seriously
you can't go
you're
over.
taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we just want to like transition into our listener delusions, a lot of those were like very aligned with like us too. And the first one is like something we kind of already talked about. It's just thinking worst case scenarios and then taking it out on someone when they actually haven't done anything. But your mind went there, and what if means it definitely did happen. And that's kind of what we talked about with like the making up stories in your head, like when you just, you know.
Yeah, it's like when the what if becomes it definitely did. Like, that's so well said, because it really is, all it is a what if, and we're the ones that create it to be it definitely did before we know. And sometimes it's like, okay, you're trying to set yourself up to not get hurt, like, and all these this and that. But at the end of the day, if you haven't been given that information directly or have actual proof, it's like you shouldn't reach to it definitely did happen, because like we said, you're just hurting yourself at the end.
Yeah, so, and I would say that's definitely more of like a toxic delusion, like for sure.
Yeah. And this next one is kind of like sarcastic, but also true. And one of our listeners said like a delusional thing that they do is just believe in romance, and simply put, and that goes with what we've been saying, everything about social media, like romance is dead. It looks different now. And there's a lot of like guessing, and it's more mysterious than it's like ever been, which can be hot and fun. But at the end of the day, it's like that good romance that we all kind of want. It's like, it's just different now because of the society we're in. Like,
we want it to exist, but does it? I don't know. I'd be going back and forth between being a cold bitch and being like, I want romance. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not good to be like romance is dead. Like, that's like, it just looks different right now, or you haven't found it. It's not dead.
Right, it's not dead. I think it's positive to still like be delusional and believe that romance still exists. Like,
right,
we should manifest
delusion.
that it will.
Fact.
Yeah, manifest that it's there. And then the last listener delusion is I think everything is working in my favor and it's impossible to hate me. And honestly, that's a good one. Like, I feel like we be saying that, like, we be telling, like, our life fucking issues, stories, like, whatever. And it's just like, you know, people might hate on it. But fuck it. We have haters on TikTok. We have haters on fucking YouTube. But it's like, whatever. We love ourselves at the end of the day. That's fine. But I do think this one can go into a negative territory, too. Like, I've had friends that I feel like have been, or exes that have been like more narcissistic, and that they think they can do no wrong, and that type of delusion is like not as cool.
And that's going into negative territory for sure. But yeah, and like people do hate on us, but at the end of the day, it's like those 12 people that we resonated with, like that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
So it's like
hopefully it's more than 12, bitch. I hope it's
no,
more
I
than
know.
12.
That was just like an extreme number. It's definitely more than 12. There's at least 100 of y'all listening, and we know you're listening, bitch. So what's up? Hey. Thank you guys for listening, but that's a great transition. Like, we are really just so grateful. Like, our listener base has grown a lot over 3 months, and we are so grateful for it. We would love to hear more from you guys. You know, as we wrap up this episode, like, tell us what you thought. Email us at sowetsodry@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you guys from there if you need any advice or any topic suggestions or anything like that.
Feed into our delusions that we can do this full time, please.
Yeah, please help us out, bro, for real. But yeah, we post episodes. We record episodes weekly. And we're on social media posting every day at So Wet So Dry, TikTok, Instagram, everything. But yeah, follow us, subscribe wherever you are. We appreciate you for listening. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Unfortunately, like courting, like a man courting a woman, like that's been in our society for like literally ever. I bet the fucking cave people were doing that shit too. Like, it's just a thing.
Like, a lot of men I talk to too are just like, oh, well, ladies got it. Like, they got it. Like, you're beautiful. And like, you know, men do whatever for you and da-da-da. And because of that, I think they get so like jealous in a way, because they're like, oh, it's easier for you because, you know, people will just do open doors and do things. But it's really not. It's like people will like bow down in a way to like our beauty, but only with the like end goal of sex in mind. They're not opening doors for like our well-being or our career or like protecting us or any shit like that. So it's like, I think men need to really realize that it's just like, you know, one of the things that you guys do offer and that we do like is just being able to show up in your masculine energy and support us in getting there.